Hey guys, so I just want to tell you guys that we just filmed a podcast episode. However, we did it in an audio fashion. Unfortunately, we need something on in the background. This is going to be the only video that does this, so this is going to be the video in the background. Hello guys, welcome to another podcast episode brought to you by New England Paranormal Researchers. I'm Tristen.
I am Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Cameron.
That was so bad. There was so much hesitation on Ryan's.
Well, I didn't know who was speaking next.
He said it was him, Nate, then you, and then I just joined. So I was
Yeah, but
like,
I didn't know
last.
that was. Yeah, but I didn't know that was the order.
Okay, Ryan, where are you right now? Because your audio is very...
Yes, I'm on the interstate.
I
told
He's in
you
his
I
car.
was going to Perry.
Listen, I just wanted you to join the call. If I was honest, like I didn't even plan.
Alright, well, how are you guys doing, first of all?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Doing
Well,
good.
I'll tell you, I'm doing great. Me and you have a couple plans for some of the actual equipment that we have going on. So I feel like it'll be great. Which I have gotten back, and I know exactly what I need for the type of wood, Tristen.
Oh, good. Did we tell Nate about what we were doing with that?
I don't think we've told Nate, and I don't think we've told Ryan about us trying to rebuild the SLS either.
I've never heard of this before, so.
You know the portal? Like the portal that we have?
Yeah.
We're thinking about making a box where it could all fit into with like different compartments and stuff. So it's easier to hold and move around and replace things, a better cord management and all that stuff. And we're thinking about burning an icon into it, into the wood.
I'm thinking about burning an icon into the wood, and also I think the way we have it, like have the knobs, not the knob settings burned into the wood too, so you know how like loud it will be and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was curious. So I know after the Conjuring House, after we did all that stuff, Ian said that some stuff would like it doesn't matter about what happens at the Conjuring House; it matters at what happens after. And I know Nate had stuff happen to him. Had anyone else had anything else happen to them?
No, not really. Nothing.
Because
Really
I didn't have
paranormal.
anything happen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how well you guys can hear me, but I know after I was having kind of paranoia, but I mean, that's kind of expected to after going into a place that's that haunted. But other than that, nothing really significant.
Nate, what happened to you?
Yeah, so the first night that I got back home, there was nobody home. It was all just me by myself. All of a sudden, outside my door, I hear it sounded like a 6 foot, some person kind of walking through the house. And then not too long after that, maybe the day or two after, the chandelier in my, it was my dining room. It was starting to swing back and forth, and that usually never happens. Because
That's weird because I don't know if it's technically a chandelier, but the light in the library kept dimming.
Oh, I didn't even.
Oh yeah, I forgot that it did that.
I think that was a chandelier. I remember them saying there was a chandelier there at one point. I don't know if it was still in there or not.
Yeah.
I'm correct.
Damn, that's creepy.
But it seems like the guy just wanted to swing from the chandelier.
Right?
I remember there was one night I was kind of going over the footage with Nate, and we actually recorded it. Crazy stuff started happening at his house. I think one of his nephew's toys started to go off in the living room by itself.
Oh, yeah, I remember that because you even heard it through the microphone.
Yeah,
I remember that. Because I got home and you guys were looking at a still photo of Nate's background to see if there was a figure behind him or something in a window, right?
Yeah.
Was that the same night?
I believe it was, but I think that was pretty much debunked. That at least that part.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, because you just, I was like, but that's just the window.
Yeah. I determined it was probably just the light reflecting off of the very far distance outside light they have.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Guys, I've made a crucial mistake. I forgot to go. It's Streamer 101. It's called Be Hydrated. I'm gonna go get something to drink.
All right, but all right. Well, he's gone. Ryan, anything recently happened to you?
Um, not really. Like,
Because the Conjuring House was months ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I mean, really, it was really the first 2 weeks after going, like when I was watching the video, the footage, looking at the pictures, that's when I got the most paranoia, like someone was watching me.
Mm.
kind of
And
like, I'm sorry. Continue.
no, I was just gonna say, I get that with like any investigation we do, but it actually felt more intense when I was watching the videos. Like no matter where I was, because
Did you like
a
start
lot
like
of
looking around, like behind you and like over the
yeah,
sides?
like
You started
lot of
seeing
the
shadows in your vision in the corners.
yes, a lot
So
of the time that I was doing the editing or watching the videos, I was at work and I would go out to my car, and even there, like I was looking around because it felt like something was watching me, and there was no one there. So
yeah,
I can
that's
strongly
literally how,
relate to that.
Yeah.
that's how me and you felt in the basement.
Yeah, there
When we
was
were
a
the only
when we
ones
were
in the
doing the
house.
Legends video. When you guys left and it was just me and Cameron, he was like reading off of his script and stuff, and the feeling that I felt like I was kind of almost surrounded
Dude,
in a way,
I
and
hated it.
I felt
hated it.
claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And it was an extreme feeling of being unsettled, and I was kind of just like, all right, let's wrap this shit up. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And
If I'm honest
when
with
we
you,
when we
I wanted to be
finished,
out of there.
I told Cameron how I felt, and he said that he felt the exact same way, and that's why he started to talk faster.
I started like, I was so uncomfortable. I kept looking in the corner of my eye at one point because I kept seeing something move, and it was just like most like disturbing feeling of being like, what's like I feel like something's right there watching us, and we're being like, I guess you're right, like surrounded, like something's there, just like not good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you guys ready to get into today's topic?
I'm ready.
yeah,
We got a strong one. Me and Nate picked it out. We had a bunch to choose from. We chose the Boogeyman, which seems like it is a really weird topic, but I liked it a lot because I think when we were all kids, when we first heard about the Boogeyman, it like scared us. And even if it didn't scare you, it also feeds off the fear of the dark and stuff, which that's a universal fear. So I wanted to get into this one.
all right.
Okay. I'm actually curious, when you guys think of the Boogeyman, without looking at the document I sent you and everything, what first comes to your mind?
I can't look at it, but
That's all right.
first, like as a kid or as now.
Both. What do you see it as?
So like as a kid, I thought of the Boogeyman of being this tall, hairy creature. Now, when I think of the Boogeyman, I either think of Michael Myers or a tall black figure.
Yeah, I pretty much felt the same way.
Yeah.
The way that I always thought of the boogeyman as a kid was like the way I could. It was like a tall creature that always hid under the bed. Like there's as a child, it was like there's something under the bed.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess now I just don't think of it at all anymore.
Yeah. So
It's just, but you're right about the darkness part, like something like in the dark.
yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't really have many fears resulting in the boogeyman, but I did have a very big fear of the dark. And as an adult, I can sleep in the dark if I wanted to. However, whenever I do, I still feel the unsettledness as I did when I was a kid. I don't know if you guys still have that.
That's the weird part. I've never been afraid of like the dark or the boogeyman story or any kind of legend he had background to.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like now it's a fear, but like I said, especially after an investigation, it's a little unsettling to be in a dark room, because you're amped up, you're waiting for something to happen, but you also don't want it to happen in your own house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a risk that we take as investigators. But, so, yeah.
Are you guys ready to get into the boogeyman and what it's all about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of go ahead and explain kind of like the overview of the boogeyman and the appearance and like what kind of powers and abilities and stuff that they have. And then I actually have a story to tell you. But first and foremost, the boogeyman is a type of ghost that is said to haunt children. The boogeyman is a mythical creature used by adults to frighten children into good behavior. These ghosts are said to be very dark and very scary. And they are said to hide in closets and under beds, and they're very difficult to get rid of. And some even say that he is the leader of nightmare-inducing entities known as dream devils. The boogeyman does not have a specific appearance, but they are most commonly depicted as masculine or monsters that punish children. His punishments are said to vary from mischievous pranks such as pulling hair, biting toes, or shaking beds, or more malevolent behavior such as manifesting as horrible creatures to scare the child, or even going as far as kidnapping the child and taking them away to his shadowy realm to an undisclosed fate. The boogeyman is everything a person fears, taking a cruel delight in turning their pleasant dreams into nightmares. Being a master manipulator, its knowledge of people's worst fears allow it to unnerve its enemies and enjoy watching them squirm, often leaving their fates to their imagination, though thinly veiled threats before finishing them off. And some of the powers is, so as a nightmare entity, the boogeyman can create, shape, enter, and manipulate the nightmares of others, including modifying, suppressing, fabricating, influencing, manifesting, sensing, and observing nightmares, to turning dreams into nightmares, to overwhelmingly shock, fear, anxiety, and terror can prove too suffocating for the victim, in which their hearts might either explode or their brains might die. They have the ability of kind of this blackish sand. Kind of like the Sandman, the boogeyman possesses its own version of dream sand, which causes endless nightmares to anyone who had it thrown into. It can corrupt Sandman's own dream sand as well as any pleasant dream that it touches, turning those dreams themselves into nightmares. The boogeyman has the ability to morph its black sand into weapons such as a scythe or a bow and arrow. The boogeyman is shown to have the ability to suck in air with the power of a jet engine. So how do you guys feel about that?
Definitely quite a lot.
Like I think again, it's the boogeyman. It's told by literally they get just told by parents of that can make up anything to tell a child to behave. And it's just that's a lot of powers that it has.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't really sound that far from a demon.
That's what I was saying. Well, it's not what I was saying.
mean,
That's what I was thinking, because a lot of this is like about the boogeyman and like this is what he can do and stuff. However, the boogeyman may not be real. However, like ghosts can do anything that the boogeyman can do.
yeah,
And it's not far-fetched for if someone was quivering in fear and they had a fear of the boogeyman, they could easily conjure something up in their mind and it will become real.
right.
That was kind of my thinking into it. And of course, there's already ghosts out there that can kind of shapeshift and into anything. And
the entire powers of it, there's like different spirits and beings that have all those powers, basically. To me, it literally just seems like just a parent trying to scare a kid to behave. Is what it was made up for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story of the boogeyman was made up to scare kids, like Cameron said, but they weren't that far from the truth of an actual demon or something along that line. So,
do you guys want to get into the story that I have for you?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, the boogeyman isn't like the boogeyman himself is not real. And there are things where it could be a ghost or something. But I actually have a story that I found. I found this thing on Reddit where someone was asking, you know how like kids will say something's in their room, and as the parent they go in there and they determine nothing's there. Well, there was a person on Reddit asking any parents out there if there was actually a case where something was there. And I have a story on Reddit, and I'll read it now. Our whole family was a skeptic of my brother's ghost. He said he went to bed one night and he felt the blankets pull towards the underneath of his bed. He tried to ignore it at first. Then it pulled so hard that the blankets came off of him, so he stood on the edge of his bed and jumped towards the door. Then he ran away and ran towards my mom's room. She made him go back to bed, of course, after checking underneath the bed and finding nothing. My brother didn't want to sleep in his room after that, and he basically was living in constant fear, but everyone just thought he had a bad dream. A few weeks later, we came home to find the house in disarray. Further inspection brought it to light that my mom was missing several pieces of jewelry. We suspected someone had robbed us. Investigation led to our cousin, who confessed to everything. And in the midst of the break-in, we totally forgot about my brother's ghost. Until my dad was talking to our thief cousin, and he told my dad that he meant to rob us a few weeks earlier. He was in the house when we came home, and he hid under my brother's bed. He figured the only way he could get the kid out of the room was to scare him, hence pulling on the blanket. So, all in all, if your kid says that something's in the house, someone might actually be in the house. Go on, Nate. Go on.
That is a great story.
So Nate, you haven't been under my bed recently, have you?
No, not that you know of.
Not that I know of.
Who knows? I might be there now.
Oh no. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like anything like that? Like when you were a kid and you thought something was in your room?
Not really. I shared a room with my with Colby for most of my life. Remember that? We've always shared a room, so it was.
So you had Sasquatch in your room. Got it.
I had and we also had bunk beds, so I always had a Sasquatch under my bed. But no, it was the protagonist of them. We're together, so it's like nothing's gonna harm me unless it gets him first,
Mm.
and then I have time to leave.
It's like your escape plan.
Yeah, it was.
For me personally, I've never had really a kind of childhood memory like that, or at least a story similar to something like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I was trying to think, like, sometime my sister would sneak into my room in the closet, but nothing to that level of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had like very, very terrible nightmares. And it scared me so much as a kid that even when I was awake, I thought that I would see stuff sometimes. And I remember there was a long time, and this is kind of a stupid thing, but so when I was a kid, I would try to go to bed, and I was under the presumption that I was hearing breathing. Like I was hearing someone breathing, and I would have to stare at my door. And every time I took my eyes off the door, the breathing would become louder. So it's almost like someone's breathing, and they'll get progressively closer if I take my eyes off the door. Now, obviously, this kind of almost hallucination that I had also bled into my dreams, which made me completely terrified. But what I had found out years later was my dad was a snorer. And he didn't sound like he was snoring when he was snoring. He sounded just heavy breathing. And so as a kid, I didn't really understand. So I was actually hearing my dad breathing. But there were like other things that were going on. Like I would put my head like on my pillow, and I would be able to hear like whispers almost coming from the basement kind of thing, which was just completely my imagination. But you better believe that came true in my nightmares.
So basically, you kind of you scared yourself to the point where you started imagining and hallucinating all these things because you were so scared.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right?
And it got to the point where I had dreamt of like a shadow that would appear. And it's not like a black mist. It's like almost like if you were to turn a light on, stand in front of that light, your shadow is on the wall. So it's like a shadow on the wall with a knife, and I would constantly have dreams of a shadow on the wall with a knife walking into my parents' bedroom and just hearing screams or whatever. And so there was one night I actually got really scared, so I went into my parents' bedroom and I woke my mom up and everything, and I started talking to her, and I look over and again, this is where it kind of messed with my brain because of my whole nightmare thing, was my dad's face. My dad was awake, but I didn't know he was awake, and so he turned his head at me, and his face was all like, I don't know how, it was all like disorganized and like not human. And I fucking freaked the fuck out. And they turned on the light and it was all okay. But it was like, for some reason, it was like that whole part of the darkness for me transitioned the fear into my mind, which created my imagination to become real. At least for me, it was real. So.
Yeah, again, I used to be terrified of the dark. But that's when I had night terrors for constant years. Like that sucked, and I used to be terrified of the dark. I would always turn a light on when I went to the bathroom or anything, and then like ran back to my room when I had to turn it off because I was just terrified as a little child of the dark.
Yeah.
I just realized what episode we could have done.
Whoa.
We could have done a topic on Bloody Mary today.
Yeah, we could have.
I completely
With video
forgot about
proof.
that.
Listen, it could have also been Bigfoot. I mean, you could have just started arguing.
What are you talking about? Bigfoot's already there.
Uh-huh.
No.
No, that's Sasquatch.
No, there have been times where me and Tristan are coming back from work in the cart, and we just have these talks about like different like monsters or paranormal things. And we one night just went on about Bigfoot because he doesn't believe in them, and I did, and I tried to show my understanding of what I think is actually happening with them. And it was just a great talk.
Sounds nice.
So I'll save that story for later.
Mm.
Yeah, and there was a lot of history about the boogeyman that I didn't get into. Because as much as I say stuff about the history, I'm gonna forget.
Dude, it goes. So while you were talking, I was looking at websites of the Boogeyman the entire
Why?
time. I just wanted to see if there was any history about it.
I believe it went all the
And-
way back to the 1500s, correct?
Yeah, 15th century, and it's believed that the word boogie comes from correct the English, like Old English,
Uh-huh.
Middle English, boogie or bogey, which means frightening specter.
Oh, we're gonna get into
Like-
specters.
Yeah, yeah, which makes sense. A frightening specter is what it basically means.
Actually, I guess we could kind of
Yeah.
get into specters a little bit since it's related to the boogeyman. So specters is basically a ghost that is in the form of like a shadow, I guess, like a shadow or a mist.
All right.
And I didn't do much research about them because it wasn't our topic today, but that's as much as I know about them.
It's always something for next time.
Yeah, it's always it. It's specter or a weird thing. Again, you can go into like a bunch of different things. You can relate them to like a ghost in a way. I think everything can be brought together.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had, well, I know the answer to Cameron's, but Nate and Ryan, have you ever had dreams where you think that they might have been influenced by something paranormal?
Oh, absolutely.
I've had like a lot of dreams in my day, but the stranger ones that I've had that I think at least is the like affected spiritually is I sometimes dream of a specific thing in my life, and then it could be like a few months or even years, and that I would have that exact day like play out from the dream.
Really?
It is so weird.
All right.
When it
Hey.
happens, I'm just like, wait a minute.
I've been
So
here
Nate-
before.
So,
Yeah. And that's happened like 3 or 4 different times in my life, and it
Nate
confuses
is
me every
a,
time.
I've actually had that once.
So Nate's a psychic from That's So he's Raven from That's So Raven. Got it.
I have had the same experience, just a little bit different. When I was a kid, me and my brother used to play like on the Xbox 360 a lot. And I remember, and this was when me and him shared a room and everything, I remember on the screen he was playing a game that looked a little bit like GTA, but instead of the GTA mechanics, it was like you could hack like things around, and it was this guy in a trench coat, and like I just remember one specific mission. And then years after, a video game came out called Watch Dogs, where the video game character had a trench coat and he was hacked, and it had the very same mission in it. And I remember asking my brother if he remembered whatever, and he was like, no, I don't remember that at all. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's definitely a deja vu moment when it happens.
Yeah.
Anyways, fine, you go ahead, because you had some paranormal stuff happen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, recently, before we went to the Conjuring House, I had a dream that we were at the Conjuring House. And, you know, you can say that was just me excited, whatever. But I've had sleep paralysis twice, and that's scary. And, yeah, I had a dream that I was being possessed and I was attacking my family. Just a bunch of different dreams that are paranormal related. And kind of along the same line as Nate, where might not be paranormal, but I will have a dream, and then a couple days or months or years later, that dream will come true.
Hmm.
So
That's very weird that happens.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me.
Yeah, Cameron has definitely had a dream where it was influenced by the paranormal. I'll let you tell that
So,
one, Cameron.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, they're gonna tell this first because mine has happened. So when we had Ouija boards in the house, we got uncomfortable with them because stuff was happening. We thought the Ouija boards were influencing that stuff and everything. So I put them out in the shed. Later that night that I put them out in the shed, I had a dream of us investigating a cave, like a rock opening. It didn't go too deep into it, but inside the rock opening was a little shack, and painted on the shack's walls in red, like dripping paint or whatever, was "I'm in the shed." And the thing was, as I read it, I heard like a dark voice in my head tell me, "I'm in the shed." Um, the very next day, I tried not to. I tried to ignore that dream, just get rid of it and everything. Very next day in the afternoon, I brought both the Ouija boards back into the house without thinking, and put them in a closet in the where Colby's room is now, where the media room used to be, where we spent most of our time in it. And I didn't tell anyone for 3 days that I brought them back in until it got brought up, and I said, no, they're in the house. Yeah, something literally influenced me to bring those back inside the house.
Me and Cameron live together, by the way.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm still a little upset about that.
I'm sorry, alright? I wasn't even thinking either when I brought them in. It's just like I was like halfway through the day, and it was like it just couldn't get out of my head of bring them in, put them in this thing.
Man, I
But
keep
it-
forgetting to
I
bring
did
them back
that.
in the house. I really gotta do that.
That's literally what it was, Tristen. That's literally what it was. It was just like in the back of my head of do it, bring them in. They're in the shed. It's in the shed. Bring it in the house. I did it. It was just, and I just didn't say anything. I was like quiet. And I just don't know why.
Why did you feel like you needed to be quiet about it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just like I brought them inside, and then I didn't forget about it. I knew they were inside the house. I knew where they were. I just never thought I had to like say anything. I just didn't say. I don't know why.
You're almost like compelled to.
Yeah, it was like don't say anything. Just let them be inside the house. And that's what I did. I just let them inside the house. So it was very weird. I haven't had a dream like that ever since though, which is great.
Yeah, Cameron's fine, guys.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. It's not like something tried to possess me before or anything like that. Makes a lot of sense.
Well,
Yeah, that dream was crazy.
guys, I hate to say it, but I don't have any more material for us to go on.
How long have
Yeah.
we been going?
33 minutes.
Oh, it's geez, built longer.
Yeah, we need to like get some segments.
Indeed,
Here,
we do.
you know what? New segment, and this is actually inspired by me and Cameron, because I came up with the
Oh.
idea, and then he would find it, and then I would find it, and then it turned into an argument. So, as it usually does, I want all three of you to go online and try to find a scary story that's not too long. It can be a little short story if you want. Just find the scariest thing that you can find, and then present it to the class.
Got it.
Except for Ryan, he's driving.
Yeah.
No, let's make this interesting.
I can think of one.
Yeah, no, Ryan can do it, guys. Ryan can do it.
Ryan just has to tell us the story of the fucking red-eyed flying demon that was chasing after him.
Is it a true story?
Yeah.
I'm down.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Someone say camping.
So,
Hesitation.
No, I'm trying to. You guys know that me and Alex were in a group, Paranormal Vermont.
Uh-huh.
Well, we went camping one time at this haunted campground, and Alex got scared, so we left. And on the way back, I swear, we saw we saw what looked like, the best way I can describe it was Mothman.
Oh,
I
We're losing them,
Man.
boys.
Yeah,
think-
well, those
I think-
Mothman, and to this day, he says, "No, that's not it." I'm like, it had wings, like
I think the Mothman got him.
he's
The
gone.
Mothman got him.
The Mothman got him.
He's been taken by the Mothman.
I mean, yeah.
he agrees.
But I mean, I don't know if it was just because that was technically our first investigation, so I don't know if it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. It probably was, but I remember that image in my head.
When was your first investigation?
Technically, like actual investigation, it was 4 years ago.
Hmm.
But we went to Emily's Bridge like 2 years before. But me and Alex didn't have we didn't go out and with the mindset of being a paranormal team. We were gonna do legends, and that's why I kept, that's why I wanted to do it with us, because that was my original goal. But then it just got brought in, like, well, the paranormal is more, what's the word? More, like,
Yeah, and we lost him again.
Don't let the Mothman scare you.
Or maybe it's the Boogeyman.
In the car?
More like on the roof. Oh,
Ryan?
we just hear.
Ryan, are
just-
you still there?
Yeah, he's gone. Alright,
He's
we lost
gone.
him.
Alright,
Oh,
next.
he's-
You guys got stories? Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
I'm back. They got cut off. God damn it.
Alright, Cameron, Nate, do you have any stories for us? Short
I
stories.
may have one. Here it is. So I looked up a topic and then just went on Reddit for people's stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because yeah. So this is a person's story. It's not their story, but it's their dad's. I'm just gonna quote and read it off. Not my story, but my dad's. He grew up with a single mom and 4 other siblings in southeast Texas on the border of Louisiana in the bad part of town. Let me rephrase. The top guy looked up was the black-eyed children. That's like one of the creepiest things I could think of.
Jesus.
Yeah, the house this happened in was behind a nightclub. He was born in 1967 and says this happened when he was 2. And he remembers it to this day. He says him and his brother, who was 6 at the time, were sleeping on the couch in the living room, and they both woke up to a black-eyed child standing in the doorway of the closet. He said the child looked older than them by a little. He had black eyes and orange hair and a slight glow to him, like he was under his own spotlight. He said him and his brother tried to scream, but nothing would come out. The child just disappeared after that. The reason everyone knows this issue, a couple months ago, me, my mom, and my dad were at my grandma's house. My uncle was watching a documentary on black-eyed children when my dad brought up what happened there. My uncle started tearing up and just kept repeating, "Man, you see that too? I thought I was crazy. I can't believe you've seen him too." My uncle has a history of drug usage and mental health problems. In all those years, for over 50 years, he assumed what he saw was fake and just his mind playing tricks on him. Bad because we think the situation shook him up so badly as a kid, he started using drugs as a teen to cope with the thought that he may have been crazy. They were so scared they just never brought it up ever again after that. But my dad always told my mom that story ever since they started dating. My grandma, who was sitting there listening to them talk about what happened, just said, "Oh, there was something in that house, Lord."
Oh.
And then that ends it there, and the person goes, "I'm gonna try to get my grandmother to tell me more about her experiences." That's the best one I found so far, because I was just scrolling through Reddit. But just imagining, like, looking up and seeing a child there, like, glowing with, like, pure black eyes in a closet that just disappears. It's creepy. I don't like those.
Hmm.
So,
And the fact that they said that he tried to scream and couldn't was also a no thank you.
yeah.
Nate, you got anything?
I do have one little thing right here.
Alright.
I don't know if it's true or not, but back in 1910, there was a young woman who was going to school for her love of color. Sadly, she was known for being a strange and a loner. Let's see. The first term got underway. The woman grew increasingly isolated. Eventually, so isolated that she took her own life by slashing her wrists. Her body was discovered in a red gown, drenched in red blood. Obviously, red blood. From then on, students and faculty have been reporting sightings of a young woman dressed in all red, and supposedly you'll hear the cries of the woman as she was doing the deed.
Oh.
It kind of almost seems like a Bloody Mary kind of situation, at least from what the rest of the story goes on to say.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I found another one. That was just edited. That was put up 2 months ago, and I was just scrolling through, and I saw something that relates to the Black Eyed Children some more. Like hearing knocks on your door and asking to be let inside like a vampire. Ooh. Tristen, you want to tell us the story of Bloody Mary?
Yes.
We're gonna save that for the Bloody Mary topic.
Damn.
Okay.
It's a good
Apparently,
story,
this guy was home alone by himself in 2021. He lives in New Mexico. He was home alone with the cat and the dog, and the entire day, so one of the things that happened was the door opened by itself, and he closed it. So he closed it, and he made sure it was closed because he tried to open it himself. He had locked it. He went to the bathroom because he walked by it, and as he walked back again, the door was opened again, and he said this time the dog was barking at it, and he tried to get the dog to relax, but it wouldn't. And then he said 2 hours later, in a nearly identical situation, he walked past the door, closed it, tested it, and headed to his bedroom, only to come back out because his dog was barking again. Another 2 hours, he was in bed and the dog starts barking again. He checks the front door and it's closed, and he said this happened every 2 hours until 4 a.m. At 4, he said, at 4 I'm woken up by the barks, accompanied by 3 hard knocks on my door. My blood is coursing, heart about to beat straight through my chest as I look through the window to see the left of the door to see who there was. There was a 10-ish-year-old ingenious boy looking boy standing there in a jacket. Sorry, my English just messed up on me. Woolly, unremarkable in appearance until I look for his eyes under his hood in the dark of the night, completely black, from eyelid to eyelid. And he said the conversation he had as a kid went with like this. He was talking with him and asked him, "What's up?" And he said, "I'm so cold. Can I come in?" He went on to ask what his parents were, and he said he just stands there silent. He has an eerie fake smile he's showing me while kind of nodding. He evades the question again and talks about how cold it is. And he asks again, "Where are your mom and dad?" And he shrugs. He told him he couldn't let him in because he had COVID, which he apparently didn't. He ran to the room and grabbed his cell phone and dialed 911. He went there. He went and described the kid to the dispatcher and went back to the front door. When he got back to the front door, the kid was gone. The
Nate's
door was
cat is
open.
meowing.
Yeah, right. He threw the door open and ran out to the street, but he's gone. There's nowhere. He said there's nowhere he could have gone because he lives at the top of a cul-de-sac. He said he went to his neighbors who had camera and asked if they captured anything, and they said they didn't see anything. The neighbor said she saw a kid walking in the neighborhood a few days later in the early morning hours as she left for work, but when she got to where she saw him, he was gone. It's creepy for me because it's the fact that if I was the kid that was standing there cold 4 a.m. and it's trying to avoid the question, I would let him call the 911 and let the police come. So you definitely know that kid was either up to no good or something weird was happening.
Yeah.
If it was me, I wouldn't want to stay next to him, to be honest, either.
Bless you. Ryan, buddy, pal.
Your story.
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Oh, he's still here, guys.
Yeah, he is. What did you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't really like black-eyed children either. I think they're real.
No,
I think the problem with stories from Reddit, I think they have real encounters, but I feel they make up a lot too.
Or maybe
Which
like
is
in
real.
cases like maybe also misinterpret.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Which is true. These are just stories about the things, though. Don't know if they're real, don't know if not. There's also another one on that page, and the first one, it has, I think, a lot of upvotes, was about a bus driver. And when I read it, I think this was more of a possession-type story instead. He said that he had a bus full of good kids, except for two of them who sat in the back, and he would hear them constantly talking about doing devious acts, and every time he looked up, he literally, like, for 2 to 3 seconds as he looked up at them through the mirror, they would look back at him with black eyes, only for him to like look away and look back again for them to be normal with big devious smiles on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
And he said after like 2 weeks of that happening and then him talking to them, it never happened again. Those kids turned like goody, like to the goody two shoes. Tristen, did you just yell?
Huh? No.
Oh, I'm hearing things.
Maybe it was a spirit.
I heard a
Michael.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. But
Oh, sorry, Karen. That was actually me.
I don't know how
Okay,
long
yeah.
you guys want our podcast to be. It's almost been 50 minutes.
That's
About an hour should be good.
yeah. Like hour-long ones are good.
I don't have any other.
I exactly why you said it's been 50 minutes, and that's like okay with me. That's almost an hour.
52
Yeah.
hours should be good.
All right. Well, I didn't come with an outro,
Yeah.
so
No.
I could just oddball it and do an outro, and whatever I say, it sticks. That's what I usually do, and it comes out pretty alright.
Yeah, go for it.
Unless, Ryan, would you like to?
no, you can.
I'm gonna interrupt you here and say no. I'm sorry, Ryan. Ryan, I'm sorry, but before they joined, I've heard you speak, and I've tried to get you to film stuff. And oh my god,
I did a good intro at Burke.
you did. You just couldn't say it.
No,
Oh, wait,
the
was that
third
the time-
one
was
was
that-
good.
Was that the time you went with me and Devin? Or was that the
Yeah,
before
that
the-
was our Halloween special.
Oh yeah, I like that because we were filming it for a little bit, and then you're like, you know what, Kevin, how about you come and try it?
No, that was the
Which one? am I
that's when we were talking about the history.
Oh yeah,
I'm
so
talking
we were
about the intro.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tried to have you go through the history of the place and what happened there. We couldn't get through that segment at all, so you had me do it.
Cameron did it one take.
Damn.
I did it one take, remembered everything, and then we did it another take because I wanted to refine it a little bit.
When I joined the group, I was watching some of the videos, and I saw one of the videos of it was like a Green Mountain Cemetery, and
Oh.
Ryan was in it,
Yeah.
but he was speaking very slowly and kept on forgetting like the script and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't edited out, so I'm just laughing my
Well,
ass
yeah,
off
you can-
watching it.
You can blame Devin for I know what you were talking about.
I
know
we
what
do
video
love you.
you're
You
talking
need to know
about.
that. We do love you, and I like how you also look at us and told us you guys do the intros and stuff. You're better at talking than I am.
Oh yeah, I know. I stumble with words.
Alright, I'm
English is not my first language.
just gonna do a random outro. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Legends, and if you like stuff like this, then maybe you'll consider checking out our YouTube channel, New England Paranormal Researchers, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Okay.